So welcome everyone to the first of a series of webinars that I'll be hosting. This first one is called Retirement is More Than Money, preparing for life after federal service. And we know that, we are federal employees or former federal employees looking to retire within the next 10, 5, maybe 12 months, and we're at different stages in life. Today, what we're going to talk about are different angles that we can look at retirement. We are not going to go over a whole lot about the requirements to retire or how to calculate your monthly annuity. We're really going to be talking about what it means to prepare for life after federal service. So what I want to do is just go over a little bit about myself and tell you what's going to be happening during our time together today. If you have any questions, comments, please put them into the chat. So a little bit about me. And please keep yourself on mute if possible. Thank you. So a little bit about me. As I mentioned, and I didn't mention this, but I'm going to mention it now. You know, my name is Sharon Harrell. I am a former federal employee, retired April of 2025, and started my own business several years ago. My business, Royalty Business Group, focuses on federal benefits and retirement consulting and retirement lifestyle coaching. I help federal employees to understand their federal benefits and retirement as it pertains to them particularly. And so what we're going to do is make sure that as we go through this session, that you understand those benefits for yourself. So what I want to do right now is I'm going to drop into the chat a link where you can learn more about me and the various programs and things that I offer. And then there's some other great information once you click on that link. I also want to let you know that, this session is going to be recorded. So if you have any questions, again, please drop them into the chat. At the end of my presentation, I will be addressing the questions because I'm going to post this recording and I don't want to have personal information. So for your privacy, I will be addressing questions at the end after the recording has ended. Also, the information that I'm providing today is for educational and informational purposes only. I'm not providing financial, legal, tax, medical, mental health, or personal retirement advice. I'm just going to be able to give you some information for you to look at and ponder as we go through these questions and this information. So please be aware to type into the chat any of your questions. Again, I will be addressing those questions after the presentation has ended and the recording has stopped. But also, if you want to take some time and talk to me about anything that you have going on, that you might have questions about or concerns, you can scan the QR code that's thrown on the screen, or you go to the link that I've dropped into the chat, and you can schedule a 15-minute complimentary consultation with me, and we can talk about those things that are concerning to you. So this webinar is for federal employees who are thinking about retirement, who may be about 5 or 10 years away. You could be a year away. It could be around the corner. Whatever that is for you, you may already been retired and still don't really know where it is that you want to be when it comes to your retirement life. And what this process will do, it will help you to start to craft that conversation that you want to have, to find out what your purpose is, what your passions are, and those things that align with your values in order for you to create that retirement lifestyle that you are looking for. In addition, by the end of today's session, my hope is that you understand that retirement is more than a financial decision and how important that is. We're going to talk about preparation and what that looks like. We're going to look at identity and purpose, lifestyle, our routines, relationships, emotional readiness, and confidence. We will talk about some common mistakes that I've heard federal employees say as they move into their retirement. And you will leave with questions that you can continue to think about after today. So again, if you have any type of questions that you need clarity with, or you want to discuss it with someone, I'm here for you. Use the link in the chat so you can be able to schedule that 15-minute consultation with me, and we can go over some of those things. So let's get started. When most federal employees start thinking about retirement, they think of the usual things. They think about their thrift savings plan. They think about their health insurance, their life insurance, what the annuity is going to be, the Social Security, the first supplement, completing the paperwork. And even though the paperwork is online and is somewhat streamlined, it still can be overwhelming for some. And all of those things are important. But retirement also affects our identity, our daily routine, our relationship, our sense of purpose, and our confidence. Many people prepare to leave the job, but they do not always prepare for the life that they're stepping into. And that is where we're going to be focusing today. My goal is to help you to start to think about retirement in a fuller way so that you can prepare not only financially and administratively, but also mentally, emotionally, and practically. So here's a big question. And if you choose, you can type this answer for yourself in the chat if you're comfortable. Are you only preparing to leave federal service, or are you preparing for what's next in your life? Because there is a difference. Preparing to leave federal service really means completing the paperwork, checking your benefits, choosing a retirement date, and understanding your annuity. And if you've transferred from one agency to another, it's a similar process, right? You're leaving one agency, but you're going to another government agency. When you go to the new agency, you want to make sure that all of your benefits and everything transferred over properly. But when it comes to retirement, you're preparing for the life you want next. And that includes asking deeper questions. So what I want you to do is ponder on these questions. And again, if you feel comfortable, you can answer any of these questions in the chat. What do I want my days to look like once I retire? Who am I becoming? What gives me meaning now? What are my values? How does that all align together? How do I want to spend my time? And what do I want to make room for? So a question for you to ponder. What do you want to be true about your life 1 year after you retire? So let's look at what preparation could really look like for you as you are preparing to set up your retirement lifestyle. Retirement preparation has several parts, and we want to make sure that you understand all of those parts. So making sure that your benefits are in order, making sure that you review your retirement timeline, which would mean making sure you review your service history and make sure everything is in order. Your health insurance, your life insurance, how do they play out in this whole scheme of things? Do you need to scale back on the amount of life insurance you have? Is it sufficient? Do you want to cancel it? Is your health insurance going to be sufficient? Do I need to apply for Social Security when I retire? Or am I just going to receive the first supplement? Do I need the TSP in addition to that, or can I leave it till later? Those are things that you really need to decide and discuss with those people who can give you those answers that you really need and the guidance and advice. But also, you need to think about what your lifestyle would be, because that is what will impact the benefits that you have, the type of lifestyle that you're going to need, the type of lifestyle that you're going to want. So again, I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions for you to think about and ponder as we go through today's workshop. What routines will help you to feel grounded? What relationships will you need to attend to? Because we have various types of relationships in our lives. Which ones will you need to attend to? What conversations do you need to have with your family or your close friends about this life transition? And what will you do with your energy, wisdom, and experience that you've had and you've gained over the 20, 30, 40 years that you have been working? A strong retirement plan should include both your benefits and your life plan. So let's start looking at the various parts of your life and how they all affect your retirement lifestyle. Let's start with your identity. For many federal employees, your job has been your paycheck. It may have been part of who you introduced yourself as, how others saw you, and how you measure your own contribution. As you heard during my introduction, the first thing I said is that I am a former federal employee. I retired at 35 years of federal service, and I have been looking so forward to retiring. I was so excited about retiring when I left last year. And so I'm still connected to that, but I know that there's more out there for me, and there's more out there for you. So you may have had a title, you may have been a part of a team or overseeing a team, you may have had authority where you work and being a subject matter expert in your area that you worked in. But when you retire, those things change. You may be feeling a freeing feeling once you retire, but you also can feel unsettled. You may be asking yourself, who am I now? And that's a normal question. One thing I want you to think about, who are you becoming beyond your federal job? And how is that going to impact how you live your life moving forward? Now let's look at purpose. Purpose gives your next chapter meaning. It gives you a reason to get up, engage, contribute, rest. Let me say that again, rest. Let me say that one more time, rest. Because when we have extra time, sometimes we want to fill it, but we'll get to that. It gives you opportunity to explore or serve in a way that matters to you. Purpose does not have to mean starting a business or doing something big. Purposes can be found in family and friends and faith, in mentoring, volunteering, traveling, going back to school or learning a new craft or a hobby, caring for your health, right? We need to make sure that we care for our health because we can't care for anyone else if we're not healthy. It also can mean being creative, rest, or serving your community. It's an important thing that you define what purpose really means for yourself. Do not let retirement become a blank space that is never intentionally filled. So here's another question for you to ponder. What will give your next chapter meaning when your daily work is no longer the center of your routine? Now let's look at lifestyle. A fulfilling retirement needs structure. And many times, many people look forward to retirement because they feel that they have no more schedule. You can go to bed when you want, you can get up when you want, you can do those things whenever you feel, because you don't have that driving to work or commuting to work back home. You'll have these multitude of meetings. All of that is gone, right? But over time, not having that structure could feel uncomfortable. I know for myself, when I first retired, I would still get up close to the time that I would normally get up when I went into the office. And it took me several months to adjust to, oh, I don't have to get up as early. I don't have to be out the house. Even if I did wake up, sometimes I would just lay there in the bed and maybe fall back asleep because I had the time. But also, one of the things that people think about, or rather don't think about, but others do, is that you have time, so they're going to make your time their time. And what I mean is that they will schedule things for you to do in order for their obligations or things to get done. They're going to ask you to come and sit at the house while some work is being done. Or can you run a few errands? Can you take mom or dad, sister or brother to the doctor? Can you run to the grocery store for me? Those things start to fill up your time with other people's responsibilities, because they say, you're not working, you're not doing anything. But when you create your own routine, when you put structure inside your lifestyle, then that busy time becomes more meaningful time. So you might want to include exercise. You might want to include some type of meditation, reflection, prayer, hobbies, family care, volunteering, rest. I'm going to keep saying rest because it's very important. You might want to travel, appointments, learning a new skill. Since I've been retired, I became certified as a drone pilot, so I can fly not big drones, they're small, up to 55 pounds. But that's not something I thought about when I was working. And I got, interested in it and decided to go for it, take a class, and got my certification. So there are so many things that you can do in your lifestyle, but you have to put structure to it, because otherwise you could still be busy and not having meaning and fulfilling purpose. So here's a question I want you to think about. What structure will help you feel grounded, purposeful, and energized in your life after federal service? Now let's talk about relationships, because that's very important. We need each other to move forward and do things in life. And retirement can affect those relationships. I just talked about how people may make your time their time. But your relationship with your spouse or partner may change because now you're home more. Your relationship with your children or grandchildren may shift because they assume that you're more available. Your relationship with your co-workers and friends at work may change because you're no longer seeing them every day. You may also need to build new social connections. Work often provides a built-in connection for conversation and community. But then when you leave that environment, you may need more intentional type of connections where you are going out and creating in new communities, or changing those communities that you already have to fit where you are in your life. So it's helpful to talk to family and friends, close friends, and those that are part of your inner circle about these changes that are going on within your life and your lifestyle, and how it may affect your relationship with them. So again, here's another question to ponder. How do you want your relationships with your family, friends, co-workers, and others to shift as you move into life after federal service? Let's talk about emotional readiness, because that's also a part of who we are. We have emotions, expressing our feelings. And many times, retirement can bring about many emotions all at the same time. You can feel excited about retiring and nervous about what that really looks like for you. You can also be relieved of, I don't have to deal with all the craziness that might be going on within this environment, but also uncertain on what is actually next for yourself. Be grateful about being able and having the ability to retire, but still sad that you're leaving the community in which you've been in. You could be ready. I was ready. And you could still be unsure. And there were times when I was unsure. I thought about maybe staying a little while longer when I became eligible. All those things doesn't mean that anything is wrong. It means that we're going through life transition. And even when retirement is planned and welcomed, it still involves change. We're leaving one chapter of our life and entering a brand new chapter. It's important to give ourselves permission to feel any emotions that may come up as we're preparing and moving into this new chapter for our life. So, again, question to ponder. What emotions need your attention before you retire? And then, once you retire, what emotions will need your attention? And then again, a year later, what emotions will need your attention? So let's look at some common mistakes that I see federal employees make as they are approaching and entering in retirement. One thing is that they wait too late to deal with things emotionally. It can be overwhelming for a person that is retiring to deal with the paperwork and all the decisions that have to be made, making sure their service history is correct. Because sometimes we make assumptions, a lot of them not HR specialists, so you make assumptions that everything is in order until you get that estimate that says, oh, you have to pay for your military service in order for you to be able to add these years to your retirement. They were part of your leave, but it's not part of your retirement. So in order for you to get more money, you have to add that military service. You have to pay that service deposit. You left federal service, so you have to pay that money back in order for that to be credible. Oh, this life insurance is going to be 3-4 times the amount it was when you were working. Do you still want to continue it? Those are things that we don't look at during our working time, and it comes to us during retirement, and you have to make the decision in order to prepare properly. Focusing on the money and the benefits is not the only thing you should focus on. You have to think about what life really looks like after. Some people assume retirement will automatically be fulfilling. Others avoid important conversations with family. Some underestimate how much they will miss the structure, the routine, and the connection that work provides. I remember working with an employee who had been preparing and decided to retire, had worked for this agency for over 50 years, and after retirement, still came back to the same office with his same colleagues for at least another 3 to 4 years to help in any way that he could. He missed the structure. That's all he knew. Those are the things he did. And so he did that over a period of time. We don't want to wait until retirement to ask what's now, what's next for us. Our goal today is not to have every answer, but it's a starting point in order for us to know where we want to go and ask those questions of ourselves of what that really looks like. So even though today we have been talking about what life looks like after federal service, our benefits are extremely important and they matter. Your retirement lifestyle and your benefits are not independent of each other. Those decisions are connected. Your retirement date, your health insurance, your life insurance, survivor's benefits, thrift savings plans, Social Security, FERS, supplements, the timing of those things, annual leave payouts, and maybe post-retirement work plans can all affect your retirement lifestyle that you're trying to build. If you want to travel, start a business, care for family, work part-time, or relocate, the choices that you make when you are preparing for retirement are definitely going to be connected to your benefits, to your income, insurance, and when you decide to retire. That is why retirement preparation is not done in pieces. They're not independent of each other. They work together with planning that lifestyle and then making sure that all of your benefits, your annuity, and everything, timing is all done so you can transition smoother. So let's take a little look at what a retirement check and seeing what that might look like for you. So I want you to ask yourself these questions. If you want to take a note, because they'll be here on the screen, you can do that as well. Just write yourself down the answers. You don't have to share them with anybody. Again, this is for yourself. Do you know what you're retiring to? You can ask yourself, have I talked to my family or close friends about expectations? That's a big one, expectations. Again, you don't want someone else making your schedule for you. You probably have been in that spot when we work. We have our time that we start, we have our end times, we have things that we have to do. Now you're retired. You can make those decisions for yourself. But what is that? Who have you talked to about that? Do I understand my benefits well enough to ask good questions? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. That means having a conversation with your HR office, going over your service history, and then maybe scheduling a 15-minute consultation with me to learn more. Again, go in the chat, click the link so you can make that complimentary 15-minute consultation appointment. Do I have a plan for my time, energy, and purpose? I had a former colleague who had retired. This person was so ready to retire. They were like, I'm tired of working. I'm ready to retire. I've been working for 30, 40 years. But then once they retired, they were like that first full year, they didn't know what to do. There was no planning afterwards. They didn't think about what that life would look like afterwards. And then another question, do I know where I need support? Sometimes we don't think about the support that we need. You could be busy doing things, but are you being productive? Is it part of your purpose to achieve the goals that you have set for yourself? So one question right here, this poll, I want you to type into the chat. And there are no wrong answers. Do you feel ready for life after retirement service? Just type in the chat. Yes, no, maybe. Okay. All right, I see a yes. No, okay, okay. Yes. And there's no right or wrong answer. You are where you are at this moment in time. You may be close to retirement, you may be further away. But at this moment in time, you are where you are. And I can help you whether you are close and are prepared, we have a discussion to just say, hey, let me hear what you have going on, and be able to bounce some information, ideas off of each other so you can be even more prepared. Or if you're not prepared, if you feel you're not prepared, then say, hey, let's see, where do you feel that you are unconfident? And then how can we move you to feeling more confident? You want to make sure that you're creating that retirement lifestyle plan, thinking about your health and those people that are going to be within your circle, your family and friends that you may be helping now here and there. You know, will that continue? Who else do you have responsibility for? Do you have still have responsibility for children? How is that going to play into your retirement lifestyle? Some people continue to work once their children, you know, get to college. Once they reach retirement eligibility, they still may continue to work, even though they may not want to. Sitting down with a financial planner can help you determine, yes, I can stay, or no, I can't, even if your child is in college or still at home. And again, you don't want to assume that everyone has the same picture of your retirement. You want to make sure that that's communicated. And then making sure that you have the support that you need in order to do those things that you want to do, to have that purposeful and fulfilled retirement life that you have set your goal for. So we talked about this, talking to everybody, and now I want to tell you about how Royalty Business Group can help you to achieve this. You know, I help federal employees, and I've been doing that for over 20 years during my federal government service. And I understand benefits and retirement. Used to say I could do it in my sleep and talk about federal benefits and retirement. However, retirement lifestyle is a totally different thing. And I would love talking with my employees that I was working with at the time about what their life was going to be like after they left federal service. Some of them had to take care of family members. Some of them were going to travel. Some of them had their own businesses. I remember I spoke to someone who had retired from one job, came to the federal service, was retired from the federal service, and about to go into another career with their own business. There are so many paths, but we sometimes don't know which path to take and what that path actually looks like. So working with myself here with Royalty Business Group can help you to determine what that really looks like for yourself. We provide federal benefits consulting and retirement literacy consultation, retirement readiness education, transition coaching, individual and group support. The goal is to help you to navigate and understand all the complexities of retirement and the lifestyle that it leads to. So again, in the chat, I want you to click on the link. I'm dropping it again, so you can schedule your complimentary 15 minutes consultation with me, and we can go over more. You can tell me more about what it is that you envision, or that you don't even know what to envision. You hadn't really thought about retirement. You decided to come today just to hear what was being offered, and now it's piqued your interest, and you want to learn more about that. Also, as I mentioned, I have various programs that I offer for individuals and groups, and it helps to get a better understanding of your federal benefits. It also allows you to listen and think about those strong, thought-provoking questions that you need to ask yourself and maybe others in order to make your decision. During the programs or individual consultations, we try to identify those gaps in your preparation, whether it's for your benefits or your lifestyle. We threw up, preparing you mentally and emotionally for this transition, because it is a big transition for many people. It was for me. Even though I was ready to retire, I still had to get used to not getting up in the morning, not doing certain things, not talking to my friends at work as I used to do. I had a routine: go in the office, settle down, go talk to my friends in the office, and then get to work. Creating that plan that will get you started. And remember, it is a living document, right? Remember, people will always say that in the government. It's a living document. It is not something that once it's written, it is just there in concrete and you can't change it. It is always flexible. It's always fluid. It's your plan, and you can adjust it as needed. You can adjust it. You don't want others to adjust it for you. And also, it helps to reduce confusion and avoid waiting too late. You don't want to wait too late. You definitely don't want to wait too late to understand your benefits and entitlements and what's entitled to your survivors, your beneficiaries, once you leave federal service. And as you are approaching retirement life, after federal service, what is that for you? You don't want to wait. So schedule that 15-minute consultation so we can go over those things with you. And if I didn't say it before, you can also scan the QR code. That will be showing back again, and the link is in the chat. So just to let you know, as I mentioned in the beginning, there is going to be monthly webinars all centered around retirement, federal retirement, and preparation. The next one that I will be hosting will be July 21st. And I'm going to drop into the chat. Just give me a moment to get to that link. I'm going to drop into the chat the link for you to register for the next session. You can just go directly. You will not have to go to Zoom. I'm sorry, not Zoom. You won't have to go to Eventbrite, because I will be advertising this through Eventbrite again. But you're getting the first-hand knowledge about this that hasn't even been posted on Eventbrite. The next one is called Mid-Year Federal Retirement Readiness Check. Are you on track? So this gives you an opportunity. We know that we have mid-year appraisals that we usually talking with our supervisors about how our performance is. Well, this is similar. You're going to be looking at your timeline, making sure that all your benefits and things are in order. What is it that you need to work on in order to make sure that you are in place to get to that next level of retirement lifestyle, and that your benefits and entitlements are in place properly, not just for you, but those who you might be leaving something to your beneficiaries and your survivors. You want to make sure that all of that's in order. So we're going to talk about those things, of mistakes to avoid, documents to check, and questions to ask. So click on the link in the chat and register, just like you did for this webinar. Register for the next webinar, and you'll get in shortly. So I also want to, again, make sure that you scan the QR code here, or go back to the link. I'll drop that one back in the chat again, so you can be able to not just schedule the 15-minute consultation with me, the complimentary 15-minute consultation, not only just so you can learn about my programs, but there's a summary of this whole presentation attached, as well as what I call a readiness handout. You'll be able to go through this handout, answer some questions for yourself, determine your retirement lifestyle readiness and assessment. So make sure that you are going to this website and clicking those information. So there will be a replay of the presentation. I'll send out the information where you can go and look at that. There, like I said, there's a summary. If you want to click on the link that's in the chat for the link tree or scan the QR code, you'll be able to get the summary. And again, just more information about me. You can follow me on Facebook. You find me at the Retirement Coach Diva. You can definitely connect with me on LinkedIn. Please, please, please. For all of you who are here, find me on LinkedIn and connect with me. You'll be able to see the different things that I'm doing. I also will be able to engage with you and follow you back and see the great things that you are doing and cheering you on as you're part of moving forward towards your retirement. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna stop the recording, and then I'm gonna allow anyone, if you want to unmute or type into the chat, you can do so, and we could go on, because again, I don't want to share any type of personal information on the recording, because that's going to be posted for other people to see. So let me pause it. Oh, sorry, let me stop sharing. Next.